Hello everyone and Assalamu alaikum. This is Introduction to Psychology Part 1 by Dear Knowledge. Okay, we have successfully completed the part 1 of lesson 3, and in part 1 we discussed about the spatial perception, in which we have discussed the perception of depth and distance in great detail. So if you haven't watched that video, I will provide a link in the description box, and if you haven't watched the video of lesson 1 and lesson 2 of chapter 5, which was about perception, so I'll provide a link of those videos too. So in this video, we'll start with the lesson 3, and in lesson 3, we'll start the part 2 of lesson 3, in which we'll be discussing the temporal perception, which is also known as perception of time. So let's start with the temporal perception. Now, perception of time, which is also known as temporal perception, takes many forms. Often we experience the time spent in doing a work, and we also experience the exposure period of some kind of stimulus, for example, or that is duration of time. And we also have the experience of temporal sequences and intervals, and it also involves the memories of the past, even of the present, events of the present, and orientation towards future. Now, we'll be discussing some factors that are affecting the perception of time, or that are affecting the temporal perception. Now, time, like space, is perceived differently according to a variety of conditions within the perceiver. Now, important such factors within the individual are age and experience of the perceiver, the motivation, the drugs, and length of the time interval. And after that, the factor stimulus characteristics is also a factor that is affecting the perception of time. So we will be discussing each those topics one by one. So let's start with the age and experience of the perceiver, which also plays a role as a factor in affecting the perception of time. So let's start with the age and experience of the perceiver. And though there exist wide individual differences in speed with which specific time concepts are acquired, but the ability to perceive time also depends on age and experience of the perceiver. Now, as Springer in 1952 conducted an experiment to study children's knowledge of clock time on 89 children in age group of 4 to 6 years old. Now they were instructed to set different timings in a clock, and also to understand why the clock has two hands. Then it was observed that the errors in setting time varied with age and also experience of the children. And one interesting error by a few children of both the age levels was to mistake 12:30 for 6 o'clock. Now, their comments revealed that a favorite radio program comes on at 6 o'clock, and they had learned to watch for the two hands to be straight up and down. Now, another study that was conducted by the Cohen, Cohen, in 1964, and it was found that the perception of apparent duration of weeks, months, and years also varies with the age of the subject. Then the next topic, or the next factor which affect the perception of time, is the motivation. Now, usually time spent in monotonous work is overestimated, while the time spent in interesting work is underestimated. Now, White, Frober, and Stoke in 1929, in an early experiment, found that errors in estimating time varied with a degree of boredom, which is evident from the data which is shown right here in front of you in the table form. Now you might see the actual times in minute is 30 minutes, 50 minutes, 70 minutes, 90 minutes, and 100 minutes. Now, how the time was estimated differently. Now, estimation of time when the people were slightly bored, then they were asked about how much time did they have spent. They said that it's been 25 minutes. And then when they were completely bored, or the estimation which were made when the people were completely bored, so they said that it's been 30 minutes. They were waiting for 30 minutes or whatsoever, and which almost matched the actual time. Whereas when the actual time was 50 minutes, how the estimation was made when they were slightly bored, they made 50 minutes, which is same as the actual time. But when they were completely bored, they made an estimation that it's been 55 minutes. Now they perceive the time differently because they were less motivated and they were completely bored. Now this shows that when a person is motivated, the time appears to fly away, and when people are bored, the time goes so slowly just because they perceive it differently. Now, when the actual time in minutes was 70 minutes, and when the people get slightly bored, they say that it's been 75 minutes. And when they were completely bored, the estimation were made that it's 85 minutes. Now you might have seen a slight difference, that the more the minutes increased in actual timings, the estimation also varied accordingly. Now, if you pay attention to the time, 90 minutes, when they were given 90 minutes, I don't know, maybe they were given to wait for the 90 minutes, or maybe they were given task for 90 minutes, but when the estimation was made when they were slightly bored, so they said that it's been 100 minutes. And when the estimation was made when they were completely bored, so the estimation was made of 110 minutes. And same is the case with when they were given 100 minutes, so they made estimation when they were slightly bored, they said that it's 110 minutes, and when they were completely bored, they said it's 120 minutes. Now from this table, you might have got the concept, you might have got the point that when a person is more motivated, they make uh, very less estimation of time. Like for them, the time flies away. For example, if you play a game, or you do your favorite activity, and then you find out that the time flies away, and the time passes so quickly. But when you're involved in a very boring activity, or you're less motivated to that, especially when you're waiting for someone or something, what you're doing is that you're waiting, which is the most boring part for you. Now, in waiting, what you do is that you perceive time differently. You make time to appear a bit longer. You feel like it's been long that you were waiting, or you're doing that particular kind of boring activity. So the main point which I want to discuss right here, uh, if I want to explain this table, is that this table shows that people make different estimations when they are bored. They consider the time to appear to be long, and the judgment of time has also been found to be related to feelings of success and failure. Now, as given interval of time is judged longer by the subjects experiencing failures than the subjects experiencing success, and which is also stated by Hawthorne in 1939. So there is a popular proverbial saying, "Watch pot never boils." Now, this saying has experimentally been confirmed by Fuller and Mills in 1949, and he found that subjects trying to get through a task to reach the desired goal estimates a given interval of time as longer than those without uh, any such motivation. So this was all about the motivation that plays a role in affecting the perception of time. Now, another factor that we will discuss right here is about drugs. How drugs play a role in affecting the perception of time, or temporal perception, and how or why drug is considered as one of the factor. Now, some drugs such as amphetamine or cyclopentol have been found to influence perception of time interval, and they found that some the Goldstone, Boardman, and Lehman, what they found is that under the influence of amphetamine, an interval shorter than a second is perceived as a second, and a Secor has the opposite effect, which are two different drugs, and in some cultures, particular drug is believed to be associated with the sense of time and rhythm. For example, among jazz musicians, there is fairly general belief that marijuana improves the sense of time and rhythm. Though this is not supported by experimental studies, but drug do have some role, and drugs do play an important role in the perception of time. Now, the next factor which we'll be discussing right here, there are some other factors that affect the perception of time is length of the time interval and stimulus characteristics. Now, some studies have demonstrated that the accuracy of time perception is influenced by the length of time intervals. We wrote it in 1968 is in one study found that shorter time duration or shorter duration of time intervals are overestimated while the longer ones are underestimated, whereas Woodruff in 1930 has concluded that shorter temporal intervals are more accurately perceived than longer intervals of time. However, some of the studies do not lend support to such conclusions, rather the findings run contrary, but such contradictions are probably due to the variation in subjective characteristics of the individuals as well as differences associated with characteristic features of the stimulus, which we'll be discussing about the stimulus characteristic. Now, there are concerned, these are the stimulus characteristics are concerned with the nature of time. The time may be continuous or discontinuous. It may be filled or unfilled. Now, Woodruff in 1929, in one of his studies, found that empty interval of 0.50 and 0.60 are not distinguished. Now, further a filled time interval is usually underestimated than the unfilled time interval, and similarly the nature of tasks with which the time interval are filled also have significant bearing on the perception of time. Now, there are some methods that are employed for the studying time perception, and in which we'll discuss the reproduction method, and after that we'll discuss the comparison method, and last but not least we'll be discussing the estimation method. We'll discuss these methods one by one. So let's start with the reproduction method. Now, scientists usually employ three methods for experimental studies on the time, and these are reproduction method, comparison method, and estimation method. Now, in reproduction method, in this method, subjects are required to reproduce the given time interval, and the time interval produced by the experimental is called the stimulus time interval, while the time interval reproduced by the subjects are called response time interval. Now, a comparison of the two tells about the accuracy with which the subjects judge the given time interval. Now, the next method which we'll be discussing is about the comparison method, the second method. Now, in this method, the two time intervals differing in length are presented before the subjects who are required to judge which of the two is longer or shorter. Now, the next one, the last but not least, is about the estimation method. Now, in this method, subjects are asked to estimate the time elapsed between appearance and disappearance of the stimulus, which are varied randomly in various trials. So, this was all about today's lecture. If your concept is clear, you can like the video. If not, you can ask us in the comment section, and we will be happy to help you out. Plus, if you're new to this channel and you want to stay notified, you can subscribe to Dear Knowledge You can subscribe to our channel, click on the bell icon so you'll never ever miss any notification from us. And you can share the link of this video and channel with the family members and friends because sharing is caring. And till then, Allah Hafiz.